and welcome to another week of Spike Down. And this week, I know it's repetitive, but I'm going to say it again. We're in episode number 8 this week because last week was actually episode number 7. I just don't know how to count yet, so we're just going to keep it that way. And then now, pew, Men in Black pretend like nothing happened. Back here with Van Stilling, Roy, and we're going to keep it short and sweet, Roy. We're just going to hop right into it. First off, how are you doing today, man?
I'm doing excellent, man, but I just can't believe you just lie on air like that. We're never going to keep it short and sweet, Vans. You and I, when we're together, we're just professional yappers. Man. Stop lying to the people. Let's just get through this. It'll take time.
My best, though. I'm going to do my best to try to keep it short and sweet, which is why, we're going to go straight into it and talk about our matches from last week, actually. There's been a couple of cool matches again.
Oh, yeah.
And some matches that went to even upsets. I think, at least when I went to my predictions from last week on the day that I cast it with I Hold Shift and Sierra, I was feeling kind of cool though with my DB upset over Core. But I mean, to me, it doesn't necessarily feel like it was like a big surprise to see Dobros, but I didn't expect for this to be a 2-0 in their favor. So what would you take out of this game?
Honestly, I wish I was as optimistic as you are, man. I did not think Dobros were going to win that at all, to be honest. But I mean, obviously, there's always a world where these matches are close because the competition is just so tight right now. But yeah, a 2-0, not only a 2-0, but a 13-2 on the second map is a little wild. I did not expect that. That's kind of wild.
Very decisive. And that second map, I think it was Lotus, if I'm not mistaken, right? Let me just go back in my notes and check. And that's the crazy part too, because on Lotus, you had Dobros come out with a deadlock and a clove. So first off, let's talk about that deadlock, and I want to know your thoughts about that. And then I want to know in general, like this resurgence of, or this surge, should I say, of clove being picked here in Challengers for Lotus. So let's start with deadlock and overall what Dobros look like. At least I'll start by saying I like what they had on their side in terms of how good they were on spacing and trading as a group. I don't think they were doing anything that was groundbreaking, especially with a composition like that doesn't allow for you to do too many trap plays, except for maybe like the raise, and I think they have a fade in there if I'm not mistaken, right? So maybe in there, yes, but outside of that though, you're just playing some get some information, stall, kind of like defensive style, and I thought it looked pretty good. So what do you think?
No, so I think this like kind of like this style that they played on Lotus is, in my opinion, the best chance that DB is going to have in this tournament, to be honest, because like again, they're not the massively X factor team, right? Like we've sort of talked about this. It's not really a surprise at this point. So I think the style that you're kind of pointing out right here, which is kind of like great utility, great timing, good team play, like that should be the bread and butter for DB. And honestly, it kind of showed. But to go back to the composition question, I kind of like their adaptation to it, right? Because like Viper Nurse, it kind of feels bad to play Viper at the moment, to be honest. But they didn't go to the double initiator composition. They went to a double controller composition still with Omen and Clove. Just kind of interesting because now it opens up the Omen to be a little bit more dually. And like, I mean, what do you have to lose? Like you die, you still have another controller completely, right? And even Clove is kind of like, they're kind of battly as well, right? So, I mean, it's a good composition. The deadlock, I'm still not entirely sold on it, but Drone made it look absolutely amazing. And I think it's just like a factor of like, what the heck? Like, what do we do against this composition? Like, they've never seen it. There's no way they've gotten reps and scrims against that kind of comp, right? Like, it's just a massive X factor in terms of like, what are they going to be up to? How are they going to play this composition? And it seemed like it worked in their favor. I mean, they got 10 rounds on defense Lotus. Dude. Exactly. That's one of the hardest halves in the game. Yeah, like that is one of the hardest halves in the game, period. It's kind of wild, dude.
Yeah, especially when the more that I've been watching Deadlock too, and these compositions that are even picked on Sunset, for example, or even an Ascent with Turtle Troop again, it does tend to feel. I actually we saw Deadlock again this week or last week rather on Bind as well, from a different team. And what I've been noticing is that the composition in itself, rendering with a deadlock, it allows for you to be a little bit more explosive on the attack, even because you're getting a lot of space and you're using this wall very effectively to block off one lane of rotate on the CT side or the defender side when they need to come back and retake the site. So it really gives you a lot of a huge window to really try to set up here in those plays. But ironically enough, here against Core, Dobros didn't even have to use too much of their attack strats here on Lotus. So they have a chance now to pick that map again, let that float, and then maybe try to see, or we could study what they could bring out here on the attack side. But I think you bring a great point, by the way, with them picking up the Clove and the Omen. And I think maybe that's why we're also seeing Clove being picked up by other teams, right? Remember Scuba, we have Riku, of course, and Snarly, the three that I remember vividly that pick Clove right now on Lotus. But I was mentioning in the cast, it was very similar to how like FPX plays triple controller on that map. And as you say, it's bubbles instead of slicing walls. It allows for you to be a lot more battly in those domes and also allowed to dodge a lot of that utility, which I think we've seen a lot of that in that fight as well here for Dobros. Although we haven't seen enough on the attack, but that's probably going to be one of their like win cons too on how they want to scale maps. So I think that was pretty good. Core, I think overall, I mean, yes, it was an upset. Let's put it that way. I was only kidding around with the DB win, where it's not too much of a surprise, but at least if you're looking at the history and the tenure of Core and what they brought out in stage one, they definitely fell a little bit short, but I don't think that's anything that you should be too alarmed about.
Yeah, I mean, if anything, this kind of bodes well for DB, right? Because they have a lot to prove, and they're going to need every point they can get if they want to squeeze one of the playoff spots. So I mean, this next week will be their test, but we'll probably get to that a little bit later.
Yeah, and if anything, if we want to go into the next match to look after for that happened last week, excuse me, is how do you actually finish maps now? Because I'm talking about the MXS versus Turtle Troop. They had two maps where they were doing so well with great starts on whatever half they were playing. I think they started off on defensive side or attack side first on Bind, which was the second map, but I think defensive side on the first one, which I think was Sunset. And they were having awesome leads. But once it turned around, Turtle Troop just found a groove and then just closed it off and won in these upset. And for once, we don't have any fake comebacks actually in these games. And I thought it was pretty cool from the side of Turtle Troop. But what was missing from MXS when you're watching these games that gave you like this inkling of like why is MXS struggling in these moments? Because even a couple of weeks ago when you're looking at stage one, they actually had slow starts against other teams who were like trailing and whatever, and then would come back and win the map or win the series after losing the first map on top of that, right? So what do you think is bubbling around here, the camp of MXS?
It's honestly kind of hard to say, because when you're looking at it on like a superficial level or like an outside perspective even, there's nothing like glaringly that wrong. Like I can see the logic. They're structuring their rounds pretty well. Like their macros pretty well established. Like you can clearly see their logic, their ideas flowing. But when it comes to just like that little like oomph, that little like, it's like they've cooked an amazing dish, but kind of forgot to put the salt and pepper at the end. You know, like I'm not entirely sure.
But salt and pepper is basic.
But yeah, I mean, yeah. So like, you get what I'm saying though, right? It's like they're not. I can't like just look at them and be like, no, this player is doing bad, or like their post plans are really bad. Like it's really just not that. It's just something is missing. It's kind of hard to pinpoint what it is. Obviously, there were some tweets coming out from Flya saying like he's been having a lot of like mental health issues, and he need, like maybe that's affecting them. Like I don't know. Obviously, I don't want to put it on him by any means, but like of course. He is the IGL, so like if he's struggling mentally, I'm sure like there's probably a lot of friction happening in terms of like strategy and like hesitation, and like maybe that's what they're missing. But like I can't even say this was that bad of a loss. Like 11-13, 10-13, like could have gone either way. Like
it just looks weird on paper because they had such a strong lead right at the very beginning, and then the comeback happened towards the mid rounds both of these maps. But I think some positive things out of it when you're looking at it from the point of view of MXS was, I still found that they were still pretty good in terms of understanding how Turtle Troop kind of plays. We still had moments where Stellar is trying to sell fakes with a wingman, but it was still read well by MXS where they didn't over rotate or anything like that either. So they just made sure that the real protocols of the contacts you're starting to understand. So I feel like there's definitely some study that came through, because yes, maybe if you're saying that, from the camp of IGL with Flya, it might be difficult these days, but there's still, a great coaching staff. They still have Mac right at that point, and they do put a lot of work into this. So I mean, they're also sorry, go ahead.
No. I was gonna say like 90% of the IGL's job is done outside the server anyway. Like anyone can call freeze time once the plans are laid out, right? Like at that point, it's just like, okay, how well can we mid round? And then it all comes down to the mid rounding, which obviously the IGL does most of the time, but any player can really step up to the plate. But for another thing for me,
he does super well with Stellar.
Their mid rounding is insane. But another thing, and this is probably the last thing that I point out as like a negative inherently, is like the openers for Moistek Shopify have not really been looking that great. Like Odorous is going 2-7 on the first kills, first deaths. Like you're the Sentinel player, dude. There's no way you're going triple. I'm sorry, but there's no way you're going triple negative on a Sentinel player, and like that's tough, man. Like you're losing your information network. You're losing it's either one, you're losing your Viper on the Bind, or you're losing your Cypher on the Sunset, right? Like both of those roles are just so crucial to how the map flows. So I think they're gonna have to tighten up a little bit on like the openers on the Sentinel players. But yeah, that's kind of the last negative thing. But besides that, I mean, everything else was pretty on point. Like Mata, Brock, like got the Broctagon, we got the Mata plays. There's a lot of that going on. And then there's so many clutches that happen on Sunset fans. Like 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 clutches. That includes 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 1v2s. 5 1v2s, man.
Unlucky.
What? Yeah. What is going on? That's madness. That's actually madness.
What can you do at that point? Right. So yeah, sometimes you just get unlucky, and when players on the other teams are like kind of popping off, and there's nothing you can do. I mean, we saw similar things throughout the whole stage of Shanghai so far. So one day you're shooting, one day you're not, and one team's gonna punish you for it, you know. So that's the crazy part about it in the end, and you can't really, you know, get too attached about the scoreline that towards the end, if it's your favorite team that's unfortunately on the side that suffers the loss, right? But I'm sure it's still a team that's going to bounce back. At the same 100%. Time, they're still, you know, when you're in that and when you're having that conversation, MXS is still really up there, anyways, right? But
yeah, they're still a top 3 team, like
exactly, and I think it bridges well actually into the next topic, which is, you know, you were talking about trying to figure out the mold around IGL and stuff like that too, when times are. It's hard for you to call, and I think it's something similar here that we could see from the M80 game versus Blinn. So Blinn had a great opportunity to pull up a huge upset, against M80 last week, and they did so in a great fashion, actually. And I think at least when I was watching this game, and I thought in the first place it was just going to be Net trying to call, because I remember when he went as a free agent and he got released here by G2, he was saying, "Hey, I'm down to try out for a new team. Either it's in Challengers or in partnership. But at the same time, I want to be a Sentinel player, and I could IGL at a high level." So I thought this was just going to be a slot for Net going in for Nitro. He's played partnership already. He's got that experience. But apparently, from what you're tweeting out here, Roy, the responsibility is actually over on Xander's.
Yeah, I mean, this is
for IGLing.
Yeah, for IGLing specifically. Yeah, exactly. No, what you're saying kind of makes sense, right? Like you would think, okay, Nitro's getting out of the IGL role and the Sentinel role. You would bring in another IGL Sentinel role and just like kind of like plug and play. But I think, I mean, just looking at it from an outside perspective and also as a former competitor as well, like it's kind of nerve-wracking to bring in a brand new IGL into a 4-core. Like in the middle of the season when like you desperately need as many points as you can to guarantee that spot,
unless you're
right?
Cutie.
Yeah, I mean, you know, shout out to that boy. That boy's crazy. Yeah. But you know what I'm saying though, right? Like it's kind of a hard decision internally, but it's not like Xander is new to the IGL role or like being a vocal player, right? Like he's been almost doing it his entire career, and he's been an IGL before. But yeah, it was a bit of a curveball. But yeah, Blinn getting this win is so massive. It almost feels like a blessing for them, right? Because they got one of their hard matches out of the way and they managed to win it 2-0. But on the other side, like the attack side for M80 looked, you could tell there was a lot of like holes in the calling style, and I think it's just a time thing, man. It's literally just a time game for them. Like they just need time to mesh. They need time to all get on the same page again, adapt to the new calling style, or like maybe have Xander adapt his calling style to try to match Nitro's calling style. Like, but whatever they're doing internally is up to them. There's many ways out of this situation, but I wouldn't say this is a terrible loss for M80. Like, yeah, it sucks to lose to blend the newcomers into the league, but again, like 13-11, man, it's like it's not even like that bad.
We did mention that it was going to take a couple of weeks, right, for M80 to try to find their footing coming through. And again, I actually was in the same boat as you, because with the same train of thought that's saying that, okay, well, it doesn't make sense to have an IGL come into a 4-man core and then try to call to the play style of how M80 used to play in the past. But the thing is Net has played a lot against M80 as the guard back in Challengers. That was one thing. And then secondly, that's why I when I was watching this game, especially on their attack side of like Breeze, or where they're trying to figure things out on Icebox, when they were trying to default to, I'm just going to stick with Icebox because we don't have too much time. So when I was looking at Icebox and I was looking at their attack side, it looked like whenever they tried to default a bit or do a 2-1-2 and try to rework the map or try to find gaps, they were easily punished in those moments where they didn't have enough bodies left when they were playing post plants or even going for a plant in itself. But when it went to like a standard, most of the rounds after, a timeout was like they're just going to 5-man hit, or they're just going to 4-1 at the beginning because you still need to throw your Viper Orb towards the middle. And then it just looks a lot better and coordinated, at least in that sense. So as a group for M80 and still having Net in the roster and not having Net watching flanks or Net trying to flank himself, they're just a 5-man hit. They actually look pretty good. So I think ironing that out and getting that out of the way now with the great practice against a team that looked really good in Blinn, by the way. They have such a great support system outside of Okeanos, even if he doesn't pop off. You got Mikey that's owning, Spaz is owning, Monsi's playing a great game as well. So it was not an easy game. It was definitely not an easy game for M80 who has to redefine themselves, I guess, going into last week and into the further week. So it kind of makes sense. I'm on the same boat as you now, noticing here that the attack side's not necessarily lackluster, but there's definitely an adjustment period with
there's just growing pains. There's literally just going to be growing pains. But I mean, a couple things that you touched on was one, Okeanos, he didn't have like the most beautiful, flashiest stat page, but his first kills, first stats were insane. 13-4 against some of the best players in the league. Like that, you got to give credit to that boy, man. That Okeanos is going insane. And we kind of talked about it. Like he's sort of the player that levels up to his competition. And I mean, 13-4 against M80 is no joke. But I guess my final point on the whole M80 situation is that the only thing for me that kind of concerns me is that Xander has been statistically like M80's most consistent and top performer. And then now he's put on a very stressful role, the IGL role. And again, this is his first match. So again, growing pains, yes. But he performed the worst in this match. Of course, and now you're losing your star player, controller player, and you're putting him on one, an IGL role, two, in a very stressful role. Like that is definitely going to impact his performance, right? Like there's just no way around him. And not many people have figured out the high frag and consistent IGL. You know what I mean? And I think it's going to come though, because again, for sure. He's playing a role that gives us an opportunity, that gives him an opportunity to do what he needs to do to set up the basic stuff. So let's say, again, for example, they're going to play Icebox. He's playing Viper, right? So he places the orb, he places the default wall, then tries to call. But if you know it doesn't go well and it doesn't bode well for M80 within the round, he still has the opportunity to now just focus on himself and be in those clutch moments where he's been so good at in the previous weeks when Nitro was still calling for the team, right? I just remember vividly when they're playing Breeze, for example, he's just popping off in like 3Ks and like helping out the team, being the support system towards the end and winning those rounds and closing out those rounds. So if he's able to find a little bit more comfort into understanding how the state of the game is happening within the game in itself or within match day, I think it gives him an opportunity now to actually look like the next John Cutie, because when things not going well here for Sentinels and are going into a site and John Cutie's in a 1 versus 3, he's going to clutch it out. So I think, again, just a pain point, but a small one, I think, for the role of Xander. I don't think the responsibility given to him is going to hinder his stats or his performances for that much longer. I think he's going to look pretty good here for this week. I hope so. They're going to need that.
Exactly. I'm knocking on wood on that one for sure. They're going to need it, of course. Thankfully, they still have a lot of cushions, right, with the circuit points that they currently have. So far, so good. But, you know, time's ticking, and the alarm might start sounding very soon if we get to the 3rd week and 4th week, and they're still winless here in that stage 2. That's when we're going to have to maybe start like digging a little bit deeper and trying to figure out those gaps. But at least now looking at they're going to have to start looking after their stuff and really pick up the slack.
Yeah, like teams that are looking a little tough right now.
Yeah,
teams that are down bad even.
Very down bad.
Yeah.
So 3, 4, 5, 6. I count on my fingers just to make sure I knew how to count. so we got 4 weeks left. So then the stars align, of course, with the 2 superstars on the show, right? Vancilli and Roy. So as they align, we agree on those predictions. I'm gonna go with M80.
You're so silly. I love that.
It's in my name. It's in my
Oh
name.
my God. We're yappers. We know we're yappers, and we have yapped your ear off. And if you want to watch the rest of this yap session between Vensely and I, go to our socials and watch the remaining part of this video.
Hello, everyone, and welcome back to another wonderful week of VALORANT Challengers North America. Leggy Camera ain't gonna stop us. We got a lot of VALORANT to get through today, and I cannot wait, because the last 2 weeks have been so full of excitement, and week going on forward, things getting kind of serious. My name is Sierra Dawn. I'll be your host for today, and joining me on the desk, as well as your wonderful casters, we have Wyatt and we have Marks. Marks, first off, I have to say, welcome in. Thank you for joining us. And I just have to ask too, I see the picture of your face in the background. I gotta ask the origins of that one.
All I have to say is $20 goes a very long way. Yeah, that's about it. I'll leave the rest to your imagination.
All right, that is definitely a wonky way to be kicking off the week, but I would not have it any other way. Wyatt, I know Mr. Worldwide over there traveling. How are you feeling? I'm excited to have you back nonetheless.
Yeah, excited to be back. I've not been able to be around for the first couple weeks. A lot has happened. Things look very different than they did in stage one.
Bless your soul. I think maybe the Twitch chat can hear you. I don't
they
think we
definitely
can hear you.
No, you can. Sorry. Yeah, no, they can hear me. But yeah, no, I'm excited to be back. Things look very different. Looking at the standings, YFP, they didn't win anything first stage. Now they're winning everything this stage. So listen, I need to do some investigation today in their game against Turtle Troop and see what's going on.
Yeah, pulling up the standings and looking through this, a lot has happened here in stage 2. Anything that you think you might have known from stage 1, throw it out the window, complete reset on this. I mean, right away, we're M80's 0-2 to be kicking things off. Dobros, we're getting to see a lot better stuff coming out from them, a 1-1. YFP, Oxygen tied for undefeated. I mean, Wyatt, this is everywhere considering where we left off stage 1 of our VALORANT Challengers.
Yeah, I mean, M80 at 0-2 is, I mean, no one expected that to be the case. People have them as, at the beginning of the season, it was mostly discussions of, is it going to be them or is it going to be Oxygen that are going to be qualifying for a partnership? And now M80 look like they're not even in the race. And Turtle Troop have, you know, they've gotten to the top, the best unsigned team that we have. And then on the opposite end, SAD were looking promising, and now they're in the doldrums in 6th. It's just, everything is switched up. So far, this second stage is looking pretty crazy.
It has been a wild ride, let me tell you that much. It's been really, really exciting to follow through. And of course, we're going to have a full week of VALORANT ahead because we're on week 3 of competition now. So to peep the schedule that we have going on for the week, well, you're talking about the best unsigned team that we have, Turtle Troop. That's how we're going to be starting off our day as they take off the equally looking just as great right now, YFP. Of course, make sure you're setting your calendar, setting your alarm for all of your favorite teams throughout the week. Marks, I got to ask, which matchup are you looking towards? What catches your eye here?
And maybe I'm just a little bit biased here, but I am actually really excited to see this YFP versus Turtle Troop lineup that we've got in front of us today because, I mean, once again, like you guys have kind of said, YFP kind of coming out swinging and just dominating the competition, but I think that this is really the best chance that we're going to see them kind of go up against a team that's a little bit of that higher level caliber, and let's see whether or not that's going to stick. Another interesting matchup in front of you right now, Core versus M80. Like was mentioned earlier, M80 hasn't really really been showing up in the ways that we would expect. And yet Core has been looking pretty good as well. So it still feels like we're really trying to understand how everything is going to homogenize in these actual group stages, but still a lot of exciting Valorant in front of us.
Oh yeah, and Core's still looking for those wins as well, so that match going up against this M80 should be a lot of fun, but I'm also, like, agreeing with your first point. I can't wait to see this YFP versus Turtle Troop match, so let's start talking about that for our day, because when we're talking about teams that have had kind of a switch around going from that stage 1 to stage 2, well, the first one to talk about is YFP here. Not because they were, you know, bottom of the scoreline, the worst going on in stage 1, but this turnaround here, Wyatt, that we're getting to see here in stage 2, what we've already gotten to see, I've been thoroughly impressed.
For sure. In stage 1, this team was, in terms of teamwork, at the absolute bottom of the league. They were so individualistic with talented players, but were just simply not working together. All of them were always going for individual pushes, trying to take as many duels as possible, and things would crumble. And then at the very end of the season, and then coming here into stage 2, they brought in 2 different players, Jake off of his time in partnership with C9, and Will, who was playing with the Fluffy Aimers, and is now on this role swap playing Initiator with them. And things have looked significantly better since then. Far more well-rounded. They're actually getting support from those guys for Penny, who's really been their star player most of this Challenger season so far. And it's nice to see them finally make some steps in the right direction in regards to the team play, the thing that they were lacking in the most for stage 1.
Yeah, there is this one tweet that I want to be pulling up from Physics here, looking back at this split that YFP has had so far, because normally when you get to check the social medias of the players after a match, win or loss, you get to see some, oh, well, we did this wrong, or here's this. It's a nice little insight to how the team's feeling. Physics talking about this clean 2-0 versus Winthrop, hoping to keep that momentum going for the rest of the split too. And I want to focus on the first part of that clean 2-0, because rolling this footage that we got to see last week when they took on Winthrop, I mean, Marks, we were kind of expecting a bit more coming out from Winthrop. These were 2 teams that we know that there's the potential of. We thought this was going to be a face-off that would be really, really kind of just going the distance, and YFP, man, they're running away with this.
They absolutely were. I mean, yeah, Winthrop, they looked really good, and especially, too, trying to make their way in, fighting a lot of the competition to earn their spot in Challengers in the first place. This was a team that a lot of people were kind of hyping up, but YFP just honestly made it look really easy. And I want to focus in on some of that team play aspect because kind of like Wyatt was saying a little bit earlier, it feels like they're synergizing just so much better. And I do wonder how much of an impact, you know, bringing in Jake and other players as well are really contributing to making that more professional, more coordinated environment, because once the teamwork is kind of in place, then they can kind of do stuff like this.
100%. And YFP, I mean, it's a team that we've expected a bit more from, and I don't necessarily feel like the results they've gotten in the past have necessarily been reflective of what we can see coming out from the team. But a couple of people that we do need to talk about the turnaround, Wyatt, we do have to talk with Physics, because Physics we know to be a good player, but I don't think we really got to see that come from him in stage 1. But I mean, with this turnaround that YFP has had in stage 2, you have to start looking at the scoreline, and Physics, this was definitely a big, oh, okay.
Yeah, that is a pretty significant step up in the statistics. I mean, across the board, you can just see the difference in the KDA is crazy. Also, the IGL for the team, and definitely in a tough spot in stage 1, trying to IGL a team that just frankly did not have the synergy required of a competent Challengers team, and has been able to, within a better system that he's developing for the team on his own, find more individual success in stage 2, which is fantastic to see because he is a solid player.
Yeah, I mean, it's always, it's tough sometimes looking at the IGL stats because you know that there's so much more going on in these matches because they're having to call and they're, I mean, I have the utmost respect, but being able to see Physics get these clutches and being able to get these kills as well. I mean, when your IGL is fragging, you know the team's about to be having a great time. But despite YFP's 2-0 to start off stage 2, I think today is really where they're going to be having their challenge, going up now against the unsigned Turtle Troop. The team that, Mark's honestly looking at this roster, how are they not signed? I mean, this team, like these players, I've kind of expected we'd be kind of maybe calling them under a different banner at this point. They've been really just kind of stepping up throughout.
Yeah, I mean, even when you take a look at some of the talent on this roster here, you should recognize a number of these names. And, you know, I guess the Turtles are just going to keep on trooping because despite the fact that they are unsigned, they've been both dominant in stage one. And we're seeing, once again, 2-0 coming into this one, just finishing up last time against MXS. I mean, Turtle Troop are looking extremely good. And quite frankly, they look like they're having fun doing so. And I think that level of confidence is really supporting their run as they continue to be one of those top teams in Challengers.
Yeah, 100%. When the team's having fun and having that confidence, that's where you get to see everyone thrive. And that's what we got to see coming out last week going up against MXS. I mean, this was definitely a good series, but it was one that when we have these teams that are in this contention for this top spot facing off against each other here, Wyatt, then it's definitely like okay, Turtle Troop coming out on top, that bodes well for them.
Absolutely, and it's so nice to see we did back in the server as well. It's crazy that this team made it all the way to the mid-season finals, lost to Oxygen there, but still went on a fantastic run without We Did, who a lot of people would say was their best player at the end of stage one when the team really came alive and was starting to get big wins against the other top Challengers teams. He was the one putting up the best numbers from the Omen, being the star fragger of the team. So having him back now for this second stage, they just look so dominant.
100%. This is a Turtle Troop that, I mean, they're always bringing out these fun stuff. Turtle Troop's been such a fun team to watch because you might not know what to expect from them in terms of what they're going to be playing, the ideas that they have, but you always know that it's going to be a great time. And last week, I had the opportunity to talk to B-Dog about some of these agent compositions and the mentality going to the game and wanted to throw that ahead of today's match.
Metas shift, change, and we have Corey, who's just so amazing on Duelist as well. So when we formed the team, we were just like, yo, like, you just want to split the roll up, like have me up on Jet and he just plays, you know, the other Duelist. And it kind of just happened like that. Like, honestly, I think he could play Jet, but like, we just like to have fun, you know, like this guy's playing Cypher on Ascent. I'm getting to play Sage on Bind. Like, we're just trying to have fun, you know, make up some fun comps. Being able to do it has been a blast, you know, it's fun to learn a new role, you know, try to show what I've learned.
Again, that, hey, the team's having fun. We're being able to kind of pull out whatever agents to be diving into these different compositions and stuff. I just think is so much fun, Marks. And being able to see people like B-Dog swap into different roles. That Sage, I mean, I was pretty impressed by it, and seeing him still step up has been great, and wanted to actually pull up a scoreline comparing him and the more duelist of the team, the everything but just duelist in Corey here, because even if B-Dog doesn't really get to play the Jet too much, still putting up good numbers, but it makes sense why Corey's been mostly banning the Jet here. I mean, Ray's the other one.
The other duelist that everyone is playing right now. Yeah. No, I mean, Corey, once again, is just a fantastic duelist, obviously playing Raze so often for Turtle Troop, but we have seen B-Dog flex a little bit, just like you said, into some of these other roles. And one of the things that was actually standing out to me a lot about B-Dog's Gecko play was using the Wingman in such creative fashions, specifically using the Wingman to kind of do some fakes or, you know, just surprise your opponents. And it really allowed for a lot of versatility from Turtle Troop, especially on a lot of their site executes. So once again, I mean, you go back to that quote, they're having fun and they're making it look really easy when doing so. But it does raise a couple of questions, especially against some of those more organized teams, whether or not they can start to anti-strat that a little bit and take advantage of some of these more typical things that you would expect out of Turtle Troop.
It's kind of funny to only see Corey having played 2 agents so far, because they actually also will play the Cypher when they're on Ascent with the Deadlock comp that they've innovated that now other teams are stealing in Challengers, which is pretty funny. And also plays the Brim. They just haven't had those maps come up yet where he does that. But yeah, the versatility from the team is super fun. And their willingness to experiment and try these different comps with the Deadlock that no other team has been trying to innovate with that agent in Americas, really, period.
Yeah, I mean, even talking to other teams that have grabbed this deadlock on Ascent, they've attributed back to, hey, we saw Turtle Troop do it, and it was kind of, it was kind of popping. But considering we might see different looks coming out from Turtle Troop depending on the maps, let's go ahead and look at the map picks and bans that we have ahead of today's series. I think we're going to be sticking with the I feel like the most cliche map to be starting off series with nowadays. It's going to be Lotus. That one will be picked up by Turtle Troop to start here, Marks. But how are you feeling about this map pool just in general?
I think that honestly, this map pool is heavily favoring Turtle Troop overall. It is a little bit hard to kind of get an idea on how YFP are going to perform. Like I said, or like we've been talking about for a lot of this, they're really in their stride right now. So anything is really possible. But I feel like just historically, both Lotus and Sunset have been such good maps for Turtle Troop, and they definitely look very rehearsed to it, to the point where like a lot of teams don't want to pick, or they don't want Turtle Troop to be able to play Lotus against them. And so this raises a couple of questions for me.
Wyatt, what about you when you're looking ahead at these three? I'm actually hearing that our agent select is ready. So on that note and that thought, I'll toss you guys to the agent select to hear your guys' thoughts on their ahead of Lotus.
All right, thank you, Sierra. We are now getting ready for Lotus, and would you look at that, Wyatt? We have a Clove.
Oh my god, yeah, this YFP comp is pretty crazy. The Neon and the Breach, that's a lot of stunning that's going to happen. To be clear, we aren't on the crazy Neon patch right now, but YFP, they're getting themselves ready for it. We have been seeing more Clove on Lotus as well. Oxygen, we're bringing that out, having Scuba play the agent. So it seems like these Challengers teams are definitely inspiring each other with some of the picks of the teams that they're going up against in scrims and matches. And then on the other end, Turtle Troop, they have a bit more of a, I mean, not even that standard, to be honest. The Fade is super meta, obviously, as is the Raze, but no Viper in the server on Lotus is wild.
Yeah, because then suddenly you're relying a lot more just on that Omen to be able to get that smoke pressure down. But I mean, it is so surprising to me to not see a Raze on Lotus right now, especially too. Neon, sure, you can zip around quite easily, but you're missing that just, grenade pressure that can consistently be laid down. So super curious to kind of see how YFP are going to approach this one.
Yeah, for sure. The Neon was very meta at a point last year, especially with C9 playing it when Leaf was dominating with it on the map. But it's pretty much totally fallen out of the meta at this point. It is all about the Raze, like you said.
And right off the bat, already, Thief just going to toss down the camera there, make sure to deny a little bit of information from Turtle Troop, already starting to aggress out, but it does look like YFP are slowly making their way over Mound, potentially looking to scoop up that ultimate orb. And just gonna tap it and back off.
Yeah, just playing for a little bit of slow control. Jake as well had put down one smoke over here on A to safely cross over to back rubble, and now with a bit of that space, YFP, they want to quickly push up here. They're gonna get another one of those orbs, work through tree into the site.
And right now, it should be a pretty easy open and shut case for YFP. We'll be able to get that spike down. Turtle Troop starting to get themselves in position to get this happening here. Already Physic gonna be lining up a little bit of utility. Just waiting for the opportunity. Have a little bit of a Prowler scout things out here. Now the denial of space will happen as Turtle Troop are struggling to gain any ground. As Outer moves forward, Thief is going to find that first pick. And already it's going to be going back and forth on the site as he gets tossed out. Fault line up, but Petty just on the other side turns around at the wrong second. As Thief's still here, they're all grouped up, all three of them now. Swarming things around, we did able to find one. Will does trade that back down to this 1v1 on the pistol round. Will up against Stellar, but time is ticking down, and even if the kill comes through, there won't be enough. That is going to be YFP with that first pistol round.
Nicely done. Just a very simple round, and they execute it well. They're able to collect both of the alt orbs on the map as well. They were controlling the entirety of it. Turtle Troop had only really pressed up B, so it made it all too easy for YFP to harvest both those orbs, go into a simple A hit, and their post-plant setup was really nice. That stun being held for Penny up in heaven, the crossfires on site, and already up 1-0. This certainly would be a really big upset if YFP can pull this one off.
Definitely Definitely, but once again, they're looking like they are on fire, and I love this opening utility that we've seen YFP use to really just deny the space of Turtle Troop. You can see they're always itching to move out, but just not really able to do so just with YFP zoning them out.
Yeah, Turtle Troop have just gone for basically the full eco here, not going to risk anything at all. Obviously, like in this day and age where the Outlaws in the game, you're just going to see teams buy up less and less here on the second rounds, just scared that if they have to buy a light armor later, they'd be one shot away from death, so they're just going to play this safe.
Jake spots out Stellar back there. Now the initiation is going to be underway. Smokes are going to be dropped down. Turtle Troop, though, they are positioning themselves like they want to take these fights. As they're going to be starting to move in, Stellar gets spotted out. It's going to be a fault line. Gets a lot of value here. A little bit of a trade. You take that any day. Penny zipping around the site now, looking for Weeded as Weeded finds yet another headshot. But Stellar looking the opposite way. It's going to be an excellent paranoia, but Physic ready with the angle. As Thief now just hanging out here on the bat. Already, YFP just down to 3 members. Turtle Troop trying to look for a little bit more here. Penny able to at least get one. Slides out to safety. As Adder going to be 1v3. Just a classic in hand. Time ticking down. Just looking to drop some of those weapons. At least able to get Penny. Picks up that Bulldog, hunting for a little bit more. But I think that this round is going to be... Oh, yep, shut down. Thief finds that kill. But honestly, not too bad coming out from YFP.
Yeah, you'll take that all day. That's a really good amount of damage from Turtle Troop there. Oh, we did on site both these rounds. I mean, he's been doing a good job getting kills. They haven't won the rounds, but he's already looking pretty hot with the aim. I mean, he almost was able to get that kill as well against the Breach. Just 2 rounds in a row with the Classic doing a ton of damage. And look at the really awkward buy that's forced YFP on. Physic just has a Ghost, Jake has a Sheriff. They've got a couple rifles, but ultimately they just want to keep enough money to be able to buy up fully for this following round, round 4.
Already the util dump happening outside of that C site. Well, it's going to be a Thrash already available here, so it's going to be going in, trying to scout things out, but Turtle Troop making the right call and deciding to back out of it completely. They know they have the weapon advantage here, so they're going to want to play together to see whether or not they can find something. Penny's able to find Adder just walking in a blind. Nothing really used to clear things out. Wingman going to go down, but Spike should be able to go down here as Turtle Troop find themselves in a 4v5.
This is a great flank from the Thief. Turtle Troop, it looks like they want to just go fast. They're able to break that Thrash just in time.
Oh, that could have been absolutely deadly there. Weeded able to find Will. Putting a lot of value in here. An excellent little flash, but okay, Penny actually falling down in the middle of it. But you gotta watch that Cypher flank. Physic gonna be forced off the back as Corey clears it. Stellar, just so aware, is able to take out Thief, and that's gonna be a nice gun round for Turtle Troop.
Excellent retake in the 4v5. Was really concerned though. They were about to throw away that round, a bonus for YFP, when Adder just haphazardly walked in, went down. But it was a nicely done from the rest of them to clean that up with just some very good scaling into the site, playing around each other, holding all the proper angles. With that spike down, though, YFP, they're going to have a little bit of extra cash. They're going to be able to get up a pretty good buy. Penny's got that ultimate ready, so not even going to need a gun, just going to be using the LG.
And yep, there we go. Overdrive activated. Already just zooming in, goes right over the frags, but doesn't matter. Corey able to find it with that stun. And already, the entry might have been enough. It's going to be an absolute frag fest on this B site. Physic able to find 2, but immediately traded back. Turtle Troop ready for the response. Sure, the spike went down, but it doesn't matter. Turtle Troop absolutely collapse YFP. And just like that, the round ends.
It's those kind of situations where you can really see why Turtle Troop are at the top of the challenger scene right now. The pace that they flood back in there together is so nice. They're so coordinated, but they're just so fast while doing it. As soon as that spike is tapped while they're trying to get in. I mean, look at Adder already in, Stellar coming in from heaven. They're just all fighting together so nicely. The seize timing from Stellar, it's all just so perfect, so natural looking from them.
Yeah, I mean, once again, we talked about it before, but YFP, they felt a little bit more disconjoined on stage 1, and they're still pulling it together, but Turtle Troop, they look honestly just really rehearsed, and already execution going to be underway as Turtle Troop, they back off and will allow that spike plant to happen.
And so quickly already, the Nightfall, they're trying to pull in again. Just so fast.
Yeah, already Corey going to be satcheling in here. No information given just quite yet. Jake is going to be spotted out there. An excellent flash, but somehow Jake wins that duel up there. Spike not quite at half. We got the members walking through. We did looking for it, just looking the other way. And now Jake going to be going down. Not dead yet. And, well, going to be blasted back at least just a second. But Jake stays alive and is able to secure the kill, securing yet another life. Adder up against a 1v1 against Will. Time ticking down on this Spike. Will have to tap here. Will just gonna be going, teasing it, playing that clock down, and Adder knows that this one is going to be done. Will be backing off, save that rifle forwards, but Wyatt, these are creative, chaotic rounds.
That was such an opportune time for Jake to be able to pop that not dead yet, the ult for the Clove. Get that 6th body online for the round, because had it not been for that, that should have been a round win for Turtle Troop. I love how TTR played that again. They were so fast, scaling back into the site with the Nightfall, getting all of that space. And YFP, in their own right, playing that nicely, just good crossfire setups, fighting for each other there. But it really is that ultimate from Jake that seals the round up for them. Turtle Troop able to get another buy together here, though. The economy not broken yet.
Okay, and yeah, YFP, they're just sticking to their guns. If it ain't broke, why fix it? Very fast onto the site yet again. Corey caught inside of the smoke. Immediately goes down. Wingman gonna get that spike down onto the ground. Turtle Troop under a little bit of pressure. Stellar gonna be traded out here. As we did coming back onto the site. Ooh, Will spots that one out. Throw the mosh around, just deny a little bit of space here. YFP there, Thief on the back, is able to find B-Dog. To get the neural theft activated as well, as Adder has at least gotten that to halfway here. Adder once again in such an awkward position. Is able to find one. Back to a 1v1. The Cypher diff comes through. Thief able to find it. YFP, it seems like they're on the clock and they got places to be.
I mean, this is this is one of the fastest early Lotus games I've seen. It's so odd to see a team on attack just hard-hitting B over and over and over. That is just so out of the ordinary, but they're able to do it with the Neon and all this, the supporting utility that they're getting in from Physic, the Breach, and then the Clove just being that follow-up to the Neon. They're getting so deep into the site so quickly, and I still really like the speed of the responses from Turtle Troop, but YFP have done a really nice job, just playing around the spike after it's been down. Their setups are nice. They're pushing forward for space. Like, as soon as the spike was down there, already Jake and Penny were pushed up fighting for heaven. They were on Stellar immediately, and it's just making Turtle Troop have to re-clear all those little areas of the map that are wasting extra time. It's been a pretty electric game so far.
Electric indeed, especially too with Penny honestly just leading the charge. Kind of like what you were saying there. I've been so impressed by the speed that YFP are really playing with. And once again, pushing Turtle Troop out here. This actually, after that timeout, would be an excellent round for YFP maybe to throw a couple more question marks at Turtle Troop. Because, Turtle Troop, they're on a little bit of this half buy here. They are going to be trying something a little bit different for their next gun round. But YFP, they've got a little bit more room to really mess with Turtle Troop's minds.
Will has the Thrash available for this round as well, just to clear out some of those spaces where players might be hiding with the close range, bonus, or rather not bonus round, but half by round type guns, any stingers or shotguns, things along those lines. One orb away as well as Physic from the Rolling Thunder.
Down to a snail's pace right now. Penny all the way on the other side of the map. Maybe understanding the Cypher is there. Immediately destroying a little bit of utility. Will confuse Turtle Troop as to what is happening. And now YFP. The ultimate heist is going to be on here. Corey going to be going up the rope. has a suspicion something's going on here. Jake gonna be tossing down the ruses, and now they know it is. Oh no! That's not gonna get any value whatsoever, and immediately the response is just so good. Jake actually probably thought the Stellar was already dead. Finally, B-Dog is able to take Jake down, but the spike goes down as well. B-Dog with the swing, but so much pressure, such great utility coming through. Weeded trying to be a hero, Penny shutting it down yet again, and Adder consistently just in these awkward situations, but now makes it down to a 1v1 yet again. But Thief still kind of flexing on that other Cypher opponent. As a YFP, it was definitely different, but a lot closer than they were probably expecting.
Despite losing these rounds, Weeded and Adder are just, they're getting so many kills every round. I can't believe it. Every time you look at them, they're at least getting one. It's crazy. But regardless, Turtle Troop just were so disconnected in that attempt to flood, with Corey going out really fast with the ult. No one was actually there to support yet. Turtle Troop had the read initially where they were on A, but yeah, you called it. When that Neon applied pressure C, they were confused. They started falling off. They weren't in good positions, but here again, so fast from this Neon, just gaining all of this space towards C, and it looks like it's going to be another fast exec from YFP.
Yep, Thrash going to be tossed in here. It's going to be slowed down a little bit, but Turtle Troop honestly just kind of holding their ground right now. So you do see YFP waffling just a little bit, deciding to instead go for this B site. Thief has already taken so much room over here. And from the shadows, just clearing out Mound just to give a little bit more information. But speaking of waffling, Thief now, oh, shuts that down. Adder can't just get the better half of that engagement, and now it's going to be YFP B lining it for A site.
YFP are working the map so nicely right now. This is such a well-called attack half from Physic. Look at how free that A site is, how quickly they got there, that pivot from C. It's just so beautiful.
Ooh, Stellar finds it. Jake using the not dead yet. Ultimate gonna make sure that Jake has another opportunity here, but gets stunned up, so Corey will find that. Will trades that one out immediately. Rolling Thunder invested onto the site as well. YFP still holding on here. Physic able to find B-Dog. And still so much site control for YFP right now. Awkward positioning. Weeded trying to make that one work. Runs out of ammo. Will just on the other side of the smoke here is Stellar in this 1v3 now. Might be able to at least find that Gecko. Will falling down, but now the time is just going to be over. And YFP, is it C site? Is it B site? No, it's A site. They find their 6th round.
The setups are so good in all of these post plants. They look so rehearsed on this map. Just having stairs covered with 2 players from the rubble side. Well, Penny just works in the site. Support from Will and Tree. Just another excellent setup to lock up around. Turtle Troop forced onto another half by here.
And unfortunately, too, Turtle Troop, their ultimates, I mean, they've been using them, but they've just not been gaining that much value off of them, unfortunately. Oh, okay. Gonna be sliding right into the judge. Gonna be an executioner with that one as well. B-Dog under a lot of pressure here. Pulls out the utility just as the wrong time as Physic. IGL is gonna be able to make their way in onto the site. And Neural Theft gonna be activated as well. Adder under a lot of pressure. But it's just gonna be the team of YFP all grouped up, hunched together, ready to spray those bullets through. Wait, what? Adder fights 2 with the Sheriff. That's kind of unreal. Will now, okay, going down. Hubris, really, as Turtle Troop. They will be finding that 3rd.
Yeah, it really was hubris. They were over pushing so hard trying to get that kill on Adder. I mean, they knew he just had a Sheriff. They felt confident going for it, but I mean, this duo right now, despite the fact that they're down 6-3, Weeded and Adder just, they're not missing anything. These guys are both going off. Goddamn, both these teams are playing so fast. And I mean, you'd love to see it, though. They have so much confidence in each other to just be pushing in the pace that they are. Both teams are frankly looking really nice at the moment.
And you know, Adder's probably feeling good off of that last one. After being forced into so many 1vx situations, like, oh man, I just couldn't clutch it up, and then you just get 2 with the Sheriff. That's gotta feel good, but this time it's gonna be util dump outside of this A site. Jake is gonna be the only one spotted out. Yeah, gonna need the paranoia just to be able to clear that space out a little bit as the fast lane gets utilized onto B. B-Dog in this excellent position is able to find 2. This Turtle Troop coming back with a vengeance. Jake able to find that kill as they commit into it. Corey hanging down here, but Jake still finds it. Stellar able to at least get the trade, and Turtle Troop, they've got the read here, so they should be able to anchor down that B site as YFP look to rotate fast onto C.
Yeah, Adder here's that double rotate as well. Oh, what a cheeky cam spot. That's really nice.
Oh no, through the smoke. Adder is able to find Thief. Talking about the Adder redemption arc, it's looking pretty good. A Prowler comes out just to clear things out. And sure, Thrash might be ready, but against a 1v3, this is gonna look a little bit more difficult. Oh, gets spotted as well by the Haunt. Just terrible timing. Oh, looking like something from Paper X with that swing, but it's gonna be the defusal coming through. Turtle Troop, they're slowly clawing their way back.
And after that timeout they took, you can see a clear adjustment from Turtle Troop as to how they're playing B, where YFP had been getting into the site so fast, and it's just B-Dog playing close, actually trying to anchor the site and fight for kills. When they were giving the site up, that's when YFP were taking all of that space, getting in really deep, and completely nullifying the Turtle Troop retake. So it's just that little adjustment that's been able to net them a couple rounds here. That last one, absolutely.
And when I think about how this half has been going, quite frankly, YFP, when they aren't playing with that aggressive speed, when they aren't playing, you know, pedal to the metal, let's zoom right over them, Turtle Troop looked pretty good in that matchup against them. And so I'm a little bit worried now that the composition that YFP has chosen is so reliant on that fast style of play that if Turtle Troop are starting to figure it out, they're not going to have anything different that they can potentially showcase and win them a couple more of these rounds, Wyatt.
Yeah, absolutely. We'll have to see out of this timeout how they're going to shift the game plan here, because those fast hits are not going to work like they did early in the half. You're absolutely right. Here they are going to be on to an eco round.
Yes, this should do.
Just some sheriffs, one frenzy. They are going to be building up really close to some ultimates, though, for round 12. If they can get these orbs for Physic, have a rolling thunder there, that could be massive to lock up a 7th at the very end of this half.
Actually, YFP, maybe not with the same momentum that they have had on previous rounds here, but given that they've got that Thrash available, they'll be taking this in. Okay, Penny gets a redo. He's able to find Corey that time. Still gonna be moving in here. B-Dog gonna be going down as well. Detained thanks to that Thrash as Adder tries to challenge this, but Penny absolutely making this overdrive. Worth it, looking for the ace here, and just completely electrifies Turtle Troop. That's going to be YFP, Penny specifically, paving the way forwards for that round.
I promise you guys we're on the old patch. That is not the new Neon. I mean, goddamn, if that's what you can do on the old patch with Neon, though, I'm in. Listen, Penny's going to be annoying as hell once we get to 8.11, but I can't believe, I mean, that's a crazy strat they just pull out. I'm like, really? They're going to use the Thrash on this eco round, not save it for round 12? But they push all the way deeper. That's so sick. Now they're going to go for this fast A play.
I mean, hey, that might be a one-trick pony, but if that trick is really darn good, then you just want to keep on utilizing it. Already taking so much space on A. Like you said last round, trying to get Physic that Rolling Thunder online. And so just going to be cycling, grabbing that ultimate orb, and then teasing their way out like thieves in the night. Thankfully, TTR haven't really invested too much, and so no worry about the over-rotation just quite yet.
This has been YFP's game plan on so many of these rounds. Just have Thief take space on one side of the map, the rest of the team pressures the other, and then they're so fast to go back to where he is. Thief has no idea that B-Dog's actually backside, though, only able to get one.
Oh, it would have been perfect there. As well, Wingman going to be getting that down. A Rolling Thunder came through from Physic. A little bit of a panic, but unfortunately is just going to slow things down just a second. Now Fault Line going to be tossed as well. Ladder is potentially going to be collapsed upon here. The util dump coming through. Turtle Troop look to move through. Spray through your smokes, ladies and gentlemen. Thief taking all of the lives of their opponents. Uh-oh, runs out of bullets though. As Corey now going to be engaging here, but Physic ready for it. We highlighted Physic at the beginning of this, and Physic is going to take this half 8-4 for YFP.
You can definitely see why both of these teams are undefeated at the moment. The individuals are in sick form from both sides. I mean, you're consistently seeing players hitting really, really nice shots onto each other. The form is fantastic. I'm interested in seeing now what YFP are going to be doing with this comp on defense. The double stun from the Neon and the Breach. will make taking early control of Mound and Rubble so obnoxious for Turtle Troop. This map is, of course, pretty attacker's side favored. So if Turtle Troop can get this pistol round, they'll definitely be very close into this game.
And actually, look at this. YFP saying, we like the attack so much, we're actually going to attack you again. As they just rush out of that C site, only really leaving Thief to anchor down B. And sure, they get all that space. We'll be able to scoop up that ultimate orb here, but now the party's got to take themselves somewhere else as Turtle Troop are making their way over to this A site. No utility here really to get that piece of information, but I'm pretty sure at this point YFP are going to be aware. Turtle Troop should have no issues getting the spike down.
Yeah, Adder did a nice job getting all this space for free, and now Turtle Troop, they're pressing up heavily. A couple players into heaven. YFP with this huge retake, all coming from Rubble.
Unconventional, that's for sure. Already the door going to be swinging open. Stellar just on the other side of this tree here. Corey making first contact, never mind. It's going to be Stellar lighting up the kill feed. Corey's able to find one as well. Get that third, and now YFP find themselves in a little bit of trouble as Penny in this weird situation, able to at least get one. 11 HP, and we did hopping, skipping, jumping, right-clicking all the way through as Turtle Troop get that pistol round.
At least so far, it looks like YFP are going to be really committed to operating in a similar way to attack in regard to they're basically just playing these 4-1s where they have the Neon Breach double stun death ball running around with the other two players as well, the Clove and the Gecko. But this time, Turtle Troop, they were able to completely circumvent that by just absorbing all that pressure from C and fast rotating into A where Adder took space on the lurk. See if YFP kind of keep up the same game plan into more rounds. Right now, it seems like more of a passive spread setup, though, across the map.
Yeah, and you're already seeing, I mean, on the defensive side, Penny and Will always playing together, trying to just combo that utility and allow Penny to be able to scoop up more kills. But once again, Turtle Troop just kind of playing with their food a little bit. They move and they take so much space onto C site. YFP are convinced that that might be the hit, so they rotate themselves over. And now they've got A for free. Penny, though, still in the back of this A site as the spike goes down.
And this is a pretty passive setup from Turtle Troop, but they don't need to press forward here on the anti-eco. They can just play things relatively safe, cover the angles for each other, take the longer range fights against the weak weapons, and that's not even going to happen. YFP is just going to wait this out, go down to the spike, not give away any alt orbs.
That's interesting. I can't say that I ever would have expected this. I mean, there is the chance, though, that, you know, they're just looking, oh my goodness, that is a lot of value gained just off of the fault line there. But yeah, I mean, this is just simply trying to just save those weapons, deny anything. And the Corey and Adder at least able to find a little bit more. Stellar, okay. Cleanup crew from the back line. We'll get all of those ultimate orbs that YFP was honestly trying to deny. And now Stellar just one away from getting Nightfall online.
Yeah, I was about to point out the same thing. He had gotten 3 on the pistol, gets 3 now. They just need to fight for 1 orb. And he'll be able to have a Nightfall on their bonus round. Could completely turn the game on its head. I mean, already Turtle Troop are getting really close. Now on the favored side in the second half, the attack side. It's just going to be tough to fight for these orbs again when they're going up against the double stun, but it's going to be key to a round win for them here.
All right, Deathball T is just out of sight of A, but actually YFP decided to rotate off of that. We'll be giving up the space, allowing potentially Turtle Troop get that Nightfall online. And given the weapon disadvantage here, getting Nightfall could be a huge boon, especially too if they want to fight this. Thief getting contact with Weeded, but Weeded actually wins that one out. Penny looking for a little bit more, and Will actually on the site. It's going to make sure that they clear everything away. Turtle Troop, it looked promising at first, but YFP with an excellent read shut that one down.
Yeah, despite Thief going down, he had the support there, able to trade off of him.
1 enemy remaining.
And that was Will. Jake coming from the back as this Physic. They surround those last 2 players. Nicely done from YFP, able to hold that. Scary for a second when Turtle Troop got the first blood, but they anchored the site nicely despite it.
And take a look at this, Wyatt. Now Will is just one away from getting Thrash online. And, you know, just taking a look at how YFP have been playing, specifically talking about that combination of having Penny and Will play so synergistically together, having Thrash is an excellent thing for YFP, especially too if they want to continue to play a little bit more aggressive. And it looks like they will be fighting for this ultimate Horde here, but actually, Turtle Troop are going to be fighting exactly the same, so a little bit of no man's land as that ultimate orb will not be yielded either side for now.
YFP, they are going to back up. This is such an important round for them. If they win it here, Turtle Troop's economy will be fully broken, an opportunity to get to 11 rounds, so close to the victory at that point.
Face your fear.
They only need a few more here. Here comes the Nightfall Thief, is just going to run out of the A site. But YFP are trying to get in now so fast, and Turtle Troop haven't gotten the space.
Physic, excellent opportunity. Never mind, Adder just a little bit faster with that aim, but it's gonna be YFP finding 3. And it's so chaotic, these crossfires. Penny just tapping B-Dog's arm, and yeah, pops the ultimate right now. Doing a little bit of a slip and slide as Adder stuck once again in this 1v2. Will be able to rescue that spike thanks to this, but this is so hard. At this point, you just gotta wait out that Neon ultimate. There still is 40 seconds here, so maybe something can happen, but YFP, they're grouped up and ready to play. So Adder, it's going to be like climbing a mountain if Turtle Troop want to win this round.
Yeah, YFP are content just waiting this out for the spike tap. They're giving him the opportunity to go B, but they realistically do not care. They just want to play together and make sure that they can trade this out and close the round out. And they should be able to do so here. Nearly impossible for Adder to win this.
We'll have the neural theft. Actually gonna invest there. Oh, the timing on that! Penny just hops down. I think that the noise was heard, but at that point, Adder stuck in the animation of throwing that nice little top hat across the room. And yeah, easy round for YFP. Like you said, things start to get very dicey for Turtle Troop now.
And it's a small error from Turtle Troop that gives YFP a window to anchor the site. They just popped that Nightfall to get into the A site from a little bit too far back. It was before the rest of the team were able to actually get space into tree. So YFP beat them to getting back into the site despite having to work around a Nightfall coming at them. Turtle Troop just too slow there, not in the right positions to scale in. They're going to be able to buy up 4 Stingers here, though. Got a little bit of extra money from getting the spike down. Maybe could win an upset round, but YFP are looking so good to close the game out at this point.
And it really just feels like a difference of speed between these two teams. YFP playing lightning fast and Turtle Troop kind of living up to their name. Not able to really get the speed quite matching YFP. And we've seen that they've been able to do it when they do a little bit of their adaptations, but fortunately on this half has not been as successful. Penny spots it out, tosses down the fast lane, and Prowler going to get utilized to at least get a little bit of space. But Turtle Troop, they're slowed things down while YFP are all grouped up here. The fault line comes through. Jake starts with the engagement, able to find 1. And now Jake looking for a little bit more, not looking the other way. Corey makes that stinger worth a little bit more. Thief able to scoop up 2. And yeah, this is just going to be YFP now. The Thrash going to fly through, not able to find anything. Hack going to be flying across the floor. And so all the positions going to be given away, but at least the spike goes down to pad the economy of Turtle Troop just a bit more.
Corey's got a rifle. He's got the ult as well. Maybe could be a hero.
He's able to find that first one. Now has the nades back online. Could be tossing them out. Gets a little bit of space here, and the Thrash going back for more. Adder, dodges out of the way of that one, but Corey falls down, and now Adder, such an uncomfortable position, was expecting to be able to find it with the close range stinger, but little bit of protection from that angle from the defuse and Physic, and YFP, as predicted, Wyatt, will find themselves at 11.
YFP taking some really scrappy fights in that round, specifically thinking of Jake when he jumped to fight into Baby Door there against those Stingers close range. But YFP, they are perfectly comfortable and fine with taking those sometimes overly aggro fights because the backup from the rest of the players on the team will be there. They're so comfortable and confident knowing that their teammates will be backing them up in those aggro fights. It's really nice for them. I mean, this team looks absolutely nothing like they did in stage 1. This is a complete 180 when you're assessing what was the weakest part of their game in stage one, which was playing together, their team play. And now they're on the same page, fighting with each other this entire game, 17 rounds straight. It's really lovely to see this level of play from them.
Yeah, honestly, it's so nice to be able to see YFP really get into their stride, like we've talked about in kind of the pre-show, right? Because this is a team that's been just like grinding. You've seen YFP go through so many of like the Knights gauntlets before, and now it really feels like they've gotten to that level where they're able to compete with some of the best in the Challengers League. So, you know, there's been a lot of work leading up to it, and it's really cool seeing it all pay off.
This might be Turtle Troop's last chance here. Their economy will be absolutely shattered if they lose this round. Neon taking fast control of A, which is always going to be the case when you run this agent on the map so good in this area. You can just get that stun on the door, work up close to it so quickly.
And you can see, actually, Turtle Troop, they're expecting YFP to just run at them. That's the reason why they're playing all of these tricky angles, really just digging their heels into the ground, holding weird things, expecting that YFP, they gotta be running at us at some point. But this round, YFP on this defense are really just kind of slowed things down, and now Turtle Troop, they've lost a lot of time, and they're gonna try and re-engage this, as it looks like A might be their preferred site.
They're gonna have to expend a lot of utility just re-clearing these spaces. Feigning now that they could be working up towards rubble, getting close on tree, the door to open it, but in reality that was all it was, just to move back to the C site, which is relatively vacant. They just have to deal with Thief.
Yeah, and Thief already kind of pinged up, and so just vacates the site here. YFP once again just deciding to group up and play together. Really living up to 8 strong together. Thief slowly moving up here. Might be able to deny it. Ooh, it's excellent flashes as B-Dog makes sure that can happen here, but Adder actually on this backstab, but now in a 1v3 just can't quite find it. Jake popping the ult just for good measure, but YFP, they find themselves on a map point, and things are looking a little bit dire because that Turtle Troop economy is not looking very strong.
They flood back into the site so quickly, but with such great utility. Yeah, I mean, we saw it directly on cam, that breach flash from Physic, and then while that's going in, forcing the players to turn. That's when the Dizzy is up in the sky, when they're not looking at it because they don't want to get breach flashed. Then all 3 of them are flashed. I mean, it's just so well played, so coordinated from YFP.
Now Turtle Troop, a very weak buy here. Everyone, wait for the mosh. Okay, now we can move through. Oh, Petty actually spammed through. Corey able to scoop that kill up. Jake gonna be just trying to get out of there. Will now holding that Dizzy, ready to go. Oh, Jake is gonna get sprayed down. Turns out it's just if we don't see them and spray through, maybe we'll find a couple of kills here. Physic able to shut down B-Dog as Corey makes their way onto the site here, and oh, an aftershock actually makes that one happen. Corey, none the wiser, thought the plant was going to be safe, and just like this, Adder once again in a 1v2. Seen this one before. Rolling Thunder comes through, not going to be scooped up from it. Thief though is able to spot this one out. Oh, the fault line coming through. Thief closing things down on Adder yet again as YFP steal Lotus away from Turtle Troop's map pick.
Massively impressive map win from YFP. That wasn't against a flat Turtle Troop. Their players were hitting. We did. Stellar, Adder were all in really solid individual form. They were winning so many fights. And despite that, YFP get this very dominant win by playing as equally as individually well in regards to the mechanics. But the speed that they were playing together with the Neon comp, of course that comp is going to be moving fast, so you have to be, equally as quick in your team decision-making, utility you're throwing out, how you're playing around each other, and they were so good with it. That was the most impressed I've been with YFP all year.
YFP really coming through and kicking the door down on a Turtle Troop. Throw those Preds out the window because they're looking sharp. And, well, we've got map 2 just over the horizon, going to be throwing to a quick break, but don't get anywhere. Let's see if Turtle Troop can bounce back or if YFP are going to 2-0 them. See you just after this.
I'm a good guy. I never do not read Discord DMs. So I have none. I make sure that every single notification I get, I either press right click, show read, or show that it's been read, or I read through them. So I have no Discord notifications for that reason. And no, I hate seeing the one notification, two notification.
No, not a lot on Discord. Like I have like 2,000 iMessage unread, but not any unread Discord. But that just like spans like 9 years back. It's not like I have a lot of people texting me. It's just like I just never check the messages from forever ago.
Unread Discord DMs. I don't think I have any. I always look at my Discord DMs.
Too many. Like if I didn't actually like delete a lot of chats and like everything, I'd probably easily have over 1,000. It's really bad. I try to respond as best as I can, but like sometimes it just like gets a little out of hand, and I can't. Too many Discords I'm in too many Discords.
Looking over right now, I'm actually really low. I go through my Discord a lot, to be honest. Currently, I don't have any message requests. I have 3, 6, 10. I have 12 unread right now, so not bad. I'll be able to comb through those sometime today, and I'll be back down to 0.
I have 0 unread Discord DMs. Yeah, boring answer. I don't have a lot of unread emails either. So.
I have 0 unread Discord notifications actually. I don't like it. I don't know. It's like a pet peeve, but I hate seeing like I'll look at like someone's phone and they'll have like 4,000 unread messages. I'm like, how's it even possible? How do you even have that many people messaging you? But yeah, I don't know. I don't really have any like unread notifications to be honest.
Oh, 0. I have 0 unread. I'm always on Discord. I always respond to everybody. So.
Oh, none. I'm not Mr. Hollywood out here. I check all my stuff, and I'm not getting blown up like crazy, so.
The game starts long before the game starts. And warm hands are faster hands. Gain the upper hand and power up your pregame warm-up with Zippo hand warmers.